So hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to Ilyron Investment Group's page. Today's episode, what we're going to be talking about is the process of how we found contractors for our real estate venture, the challenges that we had with them, and then we'll also talk about finishers and middlemen.
Yeah, starters, finishers, middlemen when it comes to contractors. And I want to make sure that we talk about solutions, not just problems, right? So we've been talking about problems before, and everyone they speak about problems, but never about how to fix those problems, what the solutions are. So let's just talk about those things.
All right, sounds good. So first things first, let's get into how we went through the process of looking for contractors. So this one was different for me. And so I'll talk about it from my perspective and how I went on, because I really wasn't trying to be the one looking for the contractors, but I did do a little bit of that, and the things that I used to kind of help me find some contractors were reaching out to Brianna Seaback, who helped us acquire the property, and then Angie's List, Craigslist, not Craigslist, what were the other? Thumbtack.
Yeah, and also we walked some sites, some builder sites, and spoke to a couple of contractors.
Got their contact information.
Yeah, but we did select for our 9342 property. We did find the initial contractor from Brianna. So she gave us two options, right? So let's just talk about those for a second.
Actually, no, we got the last crew from Brianna. We got...
No, I'm going to speak about that.
Okay.
So
right.
We got the initial contractor list from Brianna, right? The ones we were going to use. So Brianna was working with another guy. His name was Ren. And Ren, he wanted me to close so bad on the property. He was not trying to find or take no for an answer, right? So he said, hey, I didn't like the contractor that I found initially. They gave me some high numbers, and I said, you know what? I'm not sure I want to go through this because these numbers are really high. So Ren said, no, let me find you a contractor that I trust, can give you some good numbers, and it's going to be pretty close to what I proposed. So what they did is they proposed a fixer value, right? So the value to fix everything up and get it to a point where we can sell it. So he gave us a contractor that would stay close to that number. And that contractor, I said no to. I was like, you know what? This contractor came in, looked around, and then said, yeah, I can do this. But he wasn't really sure. He wasn't sure of himself, right? He said, I think I could stay close to this number. And that wasn't good enough for me, right? So I was like, no. But yeah, we didn't go with him initially. We went with someone else. What were you going to say?
But yeah, and so... To kind of get straight to the point, we probably should have, because the crew that we ended up going with, and I take the blame for that. This is the first and last time you will hear me say that. No, because what happened was, we knew what our budget was, and my main priority and focus was trying to stick very close to our budget. And so when it came to the numbers, even though this guy right here managed all of that and he knew where the wiggle room was and things like that, I was like, I'm not going to be the one blamed for going over budget, so I'm going to try to find, things within that and stick to it and make it work, make it happen, Perfect shirt to wear, right? But yeah, so all in all, I was looking on Thumbtack, and I found this one crew. They seemed to have some pretty good reviews, so I was like, okay, and they had done things on a smaller scale, so I can see why. But I invited them out to walk the property, gave them the vision for what we wanted to do as far as the changes that we wanted to make, and he was like, yeah, I can do this, and I'll even sweeten the deal and only charge you for labor. And so I was like, okay, well, what is that price? and he came in with this price.
So it wasn't sweetening the deal. What he said was that he was only going to charge labor if we provide all of the materials. So we have to pay for material, right? And he'll do the labor.
And we didn't realize at the time that the material wasn't just the pretty accoutrements, but he was meaning sponges, tools, nails, everything.
All of the basics for building a house, right? The lumber, the drywall, the spackle, the nails, the screws, right?
Like, spacers for the tile, all of that stuff. And it's like, come on, you should have some of these things already. But yeah, we didn't know that until we were already down that path.
And we did have a contract, and the contract stated that you will provide all of the building materials, the basic building material. We listed it out in the contract. But for some reason, this guy was like, well, I can't read, right after he signed the contract. Now, when we're telling him, hey, you said you're going to provide these things. Well, I didn't mean this, and I didn't mean that. So now we're kind of like, we're committed, right? So we're invested, we're in it, we're started, and he's working. At this point, we don't want to say, hey, you know what? We don't want to have you stop working because we have a disagreement. We're just trying to finish it, but let's let you know that this is the budget, right? So we told him this is the budget that we have. You can't go over that budget. And he said, yeah, he understood. So, and we even told him that we're going to pay you by phases, right? Mm-hmm. Contractors, especially the day workers, right? They want to get paid weekly. But I told him that. I said, hey, I'm not going to pay you weekly. I want to pay you based on phase. You complete a phase, and I'll pay you for that phase. He was like, well, okay. And he said, okay. Like, all right, so that you agreed to this. And I was
supposed to tell his folks and everything.
Yeah, I confirmed with him, hey, this is how we'll pay you. You complete a phase. And I said, if you want to break the phases down into 2-week increments, you can do that. But I'm paying you by phase. You complete the job, I'll pay you.
And not only that, like all of this stuff was in the contract. We went through, sat down with him and went through everything that he wanted to complete. He gave us a complete by date, signed off on it. So there shouldn't have been any room for him to screw this up. But guess what? He screwed it up. And his favorite line to say was, well, my guy is this. You were supposed to be talking to your guys. Where weren't you?
What kind of accent was that?
I don't know. But yeah, so it was frustrating.
Yeah, it was really, really frustrating dealing with that guy. What were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like, in this process, I learned so much about me and the things that I'm willing to tolerate. And I realized how nice he is.
So it's not about being nice, right? So I'm trying to complete a job, right? She's very intolerable when it comes to things not going her way, right? I'm looking at it from a bigger picture. Is I need to complete this. Yeah, it may not be going my way, and I'll fix it, right? Quote unquote, fix it with the person that I'm working with. But I need it to be completed, right? So I have no matter what, I need to get it done. Right, she's like,
yeah, I'm more like, look, business isn't personal. You're not doing what I need you to do. You need to go, and I need to find a replacement.
Yeah, but that mentality costs us time and money, right? Because now we have to stop this person from working, go find somebody else, and ramp them up into the job that we're trying to complete. So it takes time, and we don't have time. So I didn't want to stop what we're doing with this person. I want to fix it. So if the guy was amenable to sensibility, right, to being sensible in what we're trying to do and being logical, then he would be able to continue. But this guy was just not. He was
a piece of work.
Yeah. So then this is what I mean about their starters, their middlemen, and their closers, right, finishers. He was a starter, right? He'll come in and he would demo, no problem. We tell him, hey, we don't want this, we don't want that. Take down that pony wall. Take down this drywall. We want to redo all of the plumbing. He'll come in and he'll break everything down, right? No problem. And a lot of guys can do that, right? You can get someone off the street and say, hey, I'll pay you $200 to knock some walls down. They can do that. So that's starters, and that was easy for this guy to do. Mm-hmm. What he was not good at is he was supposed to, we'll tell him all of the items that we want, right? And these are the phases. So this is a demo phase, right? So In this demo phase, you need to demo all of these items. We give him a list and ask him, how long will it take to do? And he said it'll take him 2 weeks, let's say, right? So week 1, he's done some demo work. Now he's coming to me asking for money. It's like, no, you're not getting paid until you finish the demo work. You're not gonna do half of the work and then leave the other half for the next week. No, I told you in the beginning, you get paid by phases, right? So this is a learning exercise for me.
Mm-hmm.
These contractors, a lot of contractors, if you're not dealing if you're not dealing with the company directly, right? So you're not going with the contractors directly. You have a company that's hiring contractors. If you're dealing with contractors directly, they want to get paid weekly, right? And so now we have to figure out, okay, I got to break this phase down in week increments, right? So it's not just the entire phase, which may take 3 weeks, let's say, to complete. We have a phase that the entire phase is completed in 3 weeks, but each week is a certain amount, right? So now we have to break it down by in smaller increments to get this job done and pay them weekly.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a learning exercise, and I would recommend if you're dealing with contractors directly, just have an option where where you can pay them weekly and not just by phase. If you're dealing with a company, then you can pay the company by phases, and I think they'll be okay with that because they have the funds to pay the contractors that are wanting to get paid weekly. So that was a learning exercise.
Yeah, and then do we want to kind of talk about the challenges with this specific crew?
Yeah, let's talk
and the
about
things
that
they didn't do and did do.
Mm-hmm.
So when they found out, when this general contractor found out that he was supposed to be managing the budget for his folks, since he was the one getting the money, and we got to the point where we had refused to pay him more money because he hadn't completed the tasks that we had already paid him for, which was problem number 1. And then there were some things that started to go wrong because of course they're upset and stuff. And so we found out later down the line, and I think this is utterly disgusting. We had kept one of the bathrooms so that they could use that, so that we didn't have to buy an outhouse for them to use. And in the process of removing that after they were already gone, there were fecal matter in this toilet.
So, mind you, we were getting rid of the toilet, right? Because we were redoing the entire bathroom. So it was an old toilet. So yes, so don't think that we were not gonna demo that toilet. It was gonna be demoed, but we just wanted to leave it there so that they could use it
a place to use the restroom
instead of having to go. Because what they were doing initially was going out to like the local store to use the bathroom and then come back, right? So we said, hey, just leave that one. We'll do that bathroom last, and then once we get to that bathroom, okay, no more of this using the bathroom inside of the house. We should have had a porta potty, but we chose to save money, save cost, and not get the porta potty. But we should have done that.
Yeah.
Again, another lesson learned, right?
Mm-hmm. But the fact that you were gross enough, and you meaning this contractor and his crew, to know that you had used the bathroom and then didn't get
Flush
the dew out.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
my
they
goodness.
use the toilet and then didn't flush. I don't know. You've seen people that do this. I don't understand why people do this. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
If you use the bathroom, flush it, right? It's just sitting there.
Oh.
Like you probably have to come back to it at some point, right? So if you know you're gonna come back to it, just flush it, right? And I'm not even saying like it has to be super clean, but at least clean enough that the next person that comes behind you can even sit down to use the toilet. It was just gross, right?
It's disgusting.
Yeah, some people are not clean, and it's evident in the work that we're doing with this house that some of those people that are not clean are. Okay, so we had a camera glitch, and it cut off on us. So we got to pick up where we left off. I think we're talking about the toilet issues.
Yeah,
right?
How disgusting that contractor was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I do want to just talk about the middlemen, right? So we didn't have very good middlemen. What I mean by middlemen are contractors that know how to do the middle part of a job. So after a demo is done, then you got to start doing the roughing, right? So the plumbing rough, the electrical rough, doing drywall, doing mud and tape. Those things are okay, right? Those are, again, it's not as easy as demo, right? Just a little bit more work to do when it comes to the middle part of the job. And we have guys that can do that, and they did okay job with that, right? There's some things that we thought they could have done better, but we were okay with the middle part of the job. The issues we ran into were the finishers, right? So these middle guys, so they're starters and they're middlemen, but the finishing part where you had to put in the texture of the paint, you had to put in like the finishings of the staircase, staining it, all of the finishings of the plumbing, electrical finishes, all of the fine details that had to be done when you're finishing a project like a house, right?
So let's talk about some of those things.
Okay.
So examples for those who are needing examples here. For instance, we had some contractors come out, they put a hole in the wall and then didn't cover up the hole. And then put
Electrical fixture.
An electrical fixture on the wall when you could see that the hole that they put in the wall was too big.
Yeah. So they cut out a hole to put in the
box.
Yeah, the electrical soffit, right? And then the electrical fixture was supposed to go on top of that. But the hole was bigger than the fixture itself. So they decided, you know what, I'm gonna just put the fixture up. Maybe no one can see it, which is clearly untrue because you can still see the top of the hole and the bottom of the hole. And they put it up and they thought there's nothing
and
of
left it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, there's a hole here. Oh, well that means I'm gonna have to redo the drywall. Okay, well that means you gotta redo the drywall.
Exactly. And not only that, like, you can see when you put a fixture up, such as, so we had some stair lights that we installed. One of them was crooked. It was clearly crooked and needed to be straightened out. Why wasn't that done?
So let me say, so some things are not going to be aligned just right? But when she says crooked, it was off. Like, instead of being horizontal, it was just clearly
diagonal.
Off. And so we're like, hey, I know it won't be perfect, but at least make it so that it looks like it's almost horizontal, right? Please, can you just fix that?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna fix that. They never fixed it.
We went and did it. And then not only that, so we had a little peninsula. We didn't call it an island because a piece of it was still attached to the wall. So we call it a peninsula. And with that, we wanted to have some outlets underneath the bar area. And you have two outlets pretty much side by side. Why is one higher than the other? Why?
Yeah, again,
make it make sense.
It doesn't have to be perfectly aligned, right? So we told them we wanted two outlets in the island or peninsula, and just put them one where people that are sitting at the peninsula can, if one person's sitting here, one person's sitting here, they can both plug their phones in, right? But what he did is he put one at this level and one at this level. It's like, why is it so far apart, right? Yeah. At least if it was maybe not exactly the same height, maybe it's close, right? You can't really even tell until you put like a leveler next to it to see. But no, it was like one up here and one down here, which makes no sense. Like, why would you even do that? So we had issues like that, and it was all throughout the house, right? We had to go back, and we had to, actually what we did in the end is that we hired different contractors. We went to two sets of contractors. The first set, we had issues with the payment structure, and they were just demo guys, right? They come in and they demoed. When it came to the middle part, oh, there's one part. So this part is funny, right? So the first contractor is complaining about payment. He's like, oh, I need a payment every week. And I said, hey, I told you that you won't get paid every week, but I'm willing to make the adjustment and pay you weekly. But I still need these phases done. So you do one phase, which is demo. You do a second phase. I forget what the second phase was.
Electrical roof.
Yeah, the roughing, and the third phase was the floor, right? We said we can do flooring in the third phase. So I paid him for phase one, paid him for phase two. He didn't complete a couple items in phase one and a lot of items in phase two. Then he came back and said, hey, I want to start phase three. I'm like, absolutely not. You haven't even finished phase one or phase two. Why would I have you start phase three? He said, well, we need to get paid. So what he was saying is that I had paid him the amount that he asked for phase one and phase two. And so since I had paid him that, he wants to get paid again. So he's going to start phase three. It's like, there is no way I'm paying you for phases that you haven't even completed. I mean, no one paying you for a phase that you haven't started because you haven't finished phases that you haven't completed, right? There's no way I'm going to give you more money, advance you more money for phase three when you haven't completed phase one and two. So it was just, at that point I said, hey, I can't pay you any more money until you complete what you have started. And then he said, you know what, if you don't pay me any more money now, I'm going to walk. I guess he thought that we couldn't find any other contractors.
That was going to scare us.
So I said, if you got to walk, you walk, right? I'll just sue you later because I have it in contract that you said you're going to do these phases for this amount of money and you didn't complete the job. So I'll just sue you later. So we hired new contractors to do the job. We told them the entire, issues that we had. Say, hey, we want to complete this entire job. This is what we have. These are the phases. These are the things that we want to complete. Can you do the work? And of course, he's like, yeah, I can do the work. But now he's charging me more money, right? More than the agreed upon amount. So now we're starting to bleed budget, right? We're going over the budgeted amount for the rehab. And so I was like, you know what? I'm okay if I'm going to go over. I just want to get this thing done. And we did have some wiggle room that we can work with so that if we do go over, we still won't be in the hole. And so we got a second crew to start. You want to talk about the second crew?
I don't even know where to start with this one. I mean, they were better, but barely. And the part that got me was, so I was responsible for choosing the materials as far as the things that you include to make the house look pretty. I love doing that part. And for you to come and say, oh, we got cheap material, for us to then ask you, okay, well, what material wouldn't be cheap? What should we get? And then you say that you don't know, so there's no solution in that one. But then two, you take a picture of what we did and how everything was designed to send to another client to show them how nice it looks. Make it make sense. So how is it cheap, but you're recommending it to somebody else? How does it not look good, but you're sending these pictures telling your other clients that they should do the same thing?
Yeah, so we had issues with the second contractor. Again, he was better than the first, much better than the first one. But there's some issues, right? So they're middlemen, but they're not finishers. And this is the problem we had. This is why we can delineate the the contractor that would start and do all the demo work, the contractors that would do the middle jobs, and then the finishers, right? So these guys were not finishers. They were clearly, we would tell them, hey, this is not done correctly. Can you fix this? Or there's a hole in the wall. Can you fix that? And why should we have to tell them all of these little details if we're hiring a general contractor that has contractors, and the GC should know all of the details about a job, right? If he's doing a job, if he's into real estate, he's into rehabbing, this is why we hired him. He should know all the details about finishing a job, which clearly did not. So we had to go back and hire new contractors and manage these contractors ourselves, right? So now we're paying even more money to a third group of people to get things done that should have been done with the first contractor, but it wasn't. The second contractor should have done it, but it wasn't. So now we're hiring our individual contractors to get the job done.
And then my thing is, why would you do work, mess up the work that you did, and then complain that you have to redo it because it got messed up? For example, we put the flooring down, and then we bought the little paper that you see in like the new builds and stuff so that they could tape that down so that they won't affect the floors when they're doing their other work that they're doing. Why is it that every time we came back, the little construction paper or whatever it was taken up and they were just like wiping something over the floor to mess it up and make it dirty, when like we bought this to help you protect that, so you wouldn't have to redo
it. We bought the floor
it.
protection paper to put on the floor. We bought the tape to tape it down. And what they did is the contractors would come in and they weren't careful to not rip the paper. So they would rip it, pick up the tape, and now the floor is exposed and they're bringing stuff in and out of the house, walking in and out, getting it all dirty. And then they're saying that they're going to clean. I'm like, well, why clean it? Why not just keep the paper down? Doesn't make sense that you're gonna keep tracking dirt in and out of the house. Even though you put paper down, the paper should stay down. If it's up, tape it back down or put new paper down. So we had to go back and tell them, I think 3 times, to put paper down to protect the floor. But we're like, why do we have to tell you this, right? You're a contractor, you're a GC, you know this. The floor is expensive, right? It's one of the more expensive things of a house when you're putting down entire flooring for the entire house, right? So you don't want to mess up the flooring, right? We put in wood floor, engineered wood, so it's more expensive than like laminate, right? And so or vinyl, LVL. So I mean LVP, sorry. So they know that it costs money, so why not protect it, right? Because we told them, if you mess up anything here, you're paying for it. We're not paying for it, right? And so those are just frustrations. Again, we want to make sure we're complaining about these things. We want to make sure that you understand what the solutions are, right? To get good contractors, you need good referrals, right? So you should go to meetups or be involved with other people that are doing the same type of jobs that you are, rehabbing, fixing and flipping, and find referrals from people that have dealt with contractors that do their job well. And I always say this, there are people that do their job and people that do their job well. Find the ones that do their job well based on referrals. You can always go to Angie's List and
Thumbtack.
and find contractors, but you don't know what you're getting, right? And the referrals, at least you would have a good sense that they have done the work before because someone is telling you about this contractor or these contractors, and they have done some work similar to what you wanted to get done. So get contractors from referrals, or again, Angie's List and Thumbtack, they have what do you call it? The references, not the references, the scoring.
Like 5 stars, 3 stars, all that stuff.
They have those on there, but
and reviews,
the reviews. So they have the reviews, but even with the reviews, I think some of them are fabricated because we looked at those reviews to get the contractors that we were trying to get, and it wasn't much help. So there's a guy, I say this as a contractor. So we did the outside. We had to redo the sod of the yard as well as the planter areas. There's a guy we dealt with a long time ago, Pedro. Pedro
amazing.
Is you don't tell him a whole lot. You say, hey, I want this, Pedro. He will go through. He'll make sure everything is spotless, right? Everything is done. If you say, hey, do A, B, and C, he will do A, B, C, and D, and then say, hey, I saw that you needed, D done. You mind if I just do it? I'm like, how much is it gonna cost? Oh, whatever. Yeah, just do it, right? So he looks at all the details and makes sure things are done and doesn't just do just the bare minimum just to get paid. We like guys like that, right? Because those are the guys you call back over and over again. We do multiple projects, we'll just pay them. And sometimes they come in at a premium. And I don't mind paying the premium if you're gonna do good work. Because we'll recoup that premium on the tail end when we sell it, right? So, but these guys that are barely getting the job done as contractors, they don't have a system where they value good work because they're gonna get called back, right? So these callbacks, there's good callbacks and there's bad callbacks. It's a callback when we say, hey, you didn't do a good job, but then it's a callback that says, hey, you did a great job, I got another job for you, right? And those are what you, as a contractor, you want those type of jobs and people to call you back to do another job or multiple jobs, right? And we're gonna have multiple jobs. And so one of the contractors called us back after the job was done, and he was celebrating. He's like, "Oh man, we did good. We did good work on
the house
this.
looks beautiful, and
You can sell it quickly." And I didn't even answer the phone, right? Because I would not work with him again. There is no way I would even consider putting him in another project, even though he's more of a starter and a middle guy. I know I would need the entire
spectrum
of work done,
yeah.
right? Which is the starting, the middle, and the finish. And he cannot finish.
Yeah.
And the finishes are important. He would say things like, the things that you pay attention to, your buyer's not even gonna look at. And it's funny. The same things that he said that buyers would not look at, buyers looked at.
And they're like, "Oh, we can't believe you guys thought about this." Well, yeah, because we want to give you like a great quality product.
Yeah. So I know this is about contractors. We want to just tell you all of the frustrations we dealt with, but also give you the answer, right? So for all the people that are starting, now people that have been in the business forever, you guys know
about these things.
Yeah.
Y'all gatekeep. Y'all need to stop.
Yeah. But getting contractors, get referrals, right? It's best to get people that have been tried, tested, and true to do the work. And you can trust that they're going to do the work. The trusting I mentioned before, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can always trust people, but if you get a referral, it's easier to trust that person and knowing they'll get the job done.
Yeah. And then we didn't even talk about like Kim. So even working with like companies that do remodeling and stuff so that you don't have to do as much of it starting out, you still have to vet those people as well. We tried to work with one and she tried to make it sound good, like a good deal. But then when I told her what the budget was, she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna send you a quote." She sent me the quote and it was exorbitantly over the budget. And then she got upset that I didn't sign it. And I'm like, why would I put myself in a situation where I'm signing a contract on some numbers that I know I don't want to commit to? Make it make sense. Yeah. And she went off. She was leaving crazy messages, ended up getting blocked because I don't have time for that. And I don't got time for that.
It is really silly how, people, other contractors, they try to put she wasn't even a contractor. She was just a provider of service. Manager. Yeah, she was providing service about decorations and rehab ideas, right? And we didn't like her ideas. They were kind of old.
They weren't modern, and we want to do modern stuff.
And so I told her, I don't think I want to work with her because one, like she said, she came in really high. And then the work that she quoted at a high price was a small amount of work. Yeah. Right? So wait a minute, you're doing half the things that I want you to do and you're going to quote me a high price on top of that? Can't do it. And so that's why we decided not to work with her. But she was saying, "Oh, we should do this and do that." And then she was upset when we chose to go with someone else. She's like, "I can't believe you're gonna regret it," all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really?
And we don't. At least I don't.
Well, we don't regret not working with her, but regret getting some of the contractors.
So I don't even regret getting those things because we learned what we needed to learn, and I like that it was on this first property. So now when we move on to the next one, we know what things to look out for and be cautious of and do better with. So I don't have any regrets. I'm just looking forward to making less mistakes moving forward.
Yeah, but you know what's good though? Even though we had all of these issues with these contractors, we still managed to clean it up at the end and get it done, right? So it meant that we had to use other contractors, but we told them exactly what the issues were, what we wanted to get fixed, and they fixed it. So it cost us more money. We went over budget, but the house looks really good, right? So all of those details that were mishaps from the other contractors we did fix. So anyone that's getting the house, just know that those things are fixed, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have those issues anymore. And they weren't big issues, right? It's just like it wasn't what we wanted. Some of them were issues that we ended up fixing, but a lot of them were just things that we wanted it done a certain way. We're more modern in our style of decoration. And they wanted to use old things, right? And old ideas, and we didn't want the old ideas. We wanted to make sure that we kept it modern as much as possible. And then we wanted to make sure that when we deliver a product to a customer or to a buyer, we felt like it was something that they would value, right? We didn't feel like, oh man, I hope they don't see this, I hope they don't see that, because we covered it up. We actually gave them a quality product, right? So just think of Mercedes or BMW or Rolls Royce, right? When you get those products, you're paying a lot of money and you're expecting to get quality, right? If something is not there, you're not gonna be thinking that they try to cover things up for you, right? You paid for a product, and the product is supposed to be of high standard, high quality, and when you get it, you're gonna get that, and you know you're gonna get that. When they're selling it to you, they know you're getting a good product, and you're gonna pay for it, right? So that's the kind of thing that we want to get into. Our standards is that we want to give you quality, and that we feel comfortable giving the product to someone else, right? That when they acquire it, they know like, oh, okay, this is of value, this is quality, this is good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Not taking away from those houses that are not that way, right? Because you have builders that they just want to get it out the door, right? And they do just the bare minimum. Though there's a place for that, but we're not of that level, right? We want to be where we give good.
We want to be up here.
Higher standards, yeah.
Yep.
So
oh, go ahead.
No. So like, yeah, I think that covers everything, right? So we told you the problems, we gave you the solutions. If you're new to real estate rehabbing, hopefully this helps you. We've seen a lot of videos that they give you the pie in the sky, how it should be, but there are some issues, right?
They
that you got to deal. Gatekeep, I think, is a strong word, right? So they do that. They do hold on to information because they want to build their own brand and their own business, which I understand, right? But people need help, right?
Yeah.
This economy is inflated, right? Inflation, right? It's inflated, so people are struggling, and because of those struggles, they need a way to get out of the struggle. And real estate is a good way, right? But we have to know a lot about what you're doing, especially the exit strategy. So this is just one of those things, right? Contractors, gotta get good contractors and build a good team. Once you build that team, then all you have to do, what your job is going to be, is finding those deals. Once you find the deals, you fund it, right? Whatever fund manager or fund management system you want to deal with, you fund it, and you get the contractors to do the work, and then you sell it, right? Or if you want to hold on to it, you can too, but that's your job. At that, once you have a good team, all you do is manage the process, right?
So thank you guys, thank you all for staying to the end. If you stayed to the end and watching this video, we hope you all enjoyed it. If we left out some information that you all wanted to hear, feel free to let us know down in the comments. We have no problem talking about more. But stay tuned for future episodes on the Ilyron Investment Group pages. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And yeah, let us know what things you're interested in. Again, we have some things that we are going to talk to you about, but if there's some things that we leave out, feel free to let us know. All feedback is welcome. Do you have any final words?
And if you disagree with anything we've said, right, we're only talking to you based on our experiences. So we're not gun shy, right? If you say that you don't like what we said, or you think it's different, or it's a better way, then fine, let us know. We're open to it, right? We just want to learn and pass on information. That's what we're trying to do, because we didn't get all the information that we wanted, and we thought we had enough information to start a project, and then found out there's some things that we just didn't know. So yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
So that's it for this video. Again, thanks so much for staying tuned. We're out. Peace.
Deuces.
Until next time.